Are you recording, Ray, or is that okay?
Yes, recording has started.
Okay, great. Hi. Okay, everyone. Hi, my name is Michelle Bailey Hedgepeth. I'm the town administrator. We're going to have our first Green Team meeting, and I thank everybody for joining. Today is February 5th, 2024, and the agenda is up. I think I'm still sharing it to make sure. And I just wanted to give everybody, I'll stop sharing so everybody can kind of see each other, the chance to introduce themselves as part of the introductions. So, Mayor, did you want to go first?
I'll let our residents go first. Mr.
Okay.
White, you want to kick us off?
Okay, great.
Well, I'm Steve White, Tilden Road.
Thank you for coming. I appreciate you. Miss Carol?
Hi, I'm Jessica Carroll. I live on Spring Road, and I'm very excited to be joining you guys today and get started on this.
Miss Kinkle, I see you here too. Sorry, I didn't mean to. I don't know, Miss Kinkle, can you hear me? I just want to make sure we don't have you.
Does she have it on mute?
Yeah, she's on mute. Let me just see if I can. Let me see if I can pull on mute. Nope, I can't pull her off mute.
All right, well, I'll just jump in. Keisha James, and was part of the prior iteration of the Green Team, and Miss Lois Kinkle was one of our awesome, hardworking members. So glad to get the group reconvened and moving forward in 2024.
Oh, there's Miss Kinkle. She's back.
There she goes. She's off mute.
Hi.
Can you hear us?
Okay. Well, so then, since we've gotten introductions and welcomes done, I'm going to just go back to sharing the screen for 2 seconds so I can make sure that everybody can see what's next. The next item is the fact that we're going to review the previous Green Team action plan and updates. I'll stop sharing this again. What I did as staff is that I took the old Green Team actions that have been done and that have been put together by the previous town administrator, and I believe it's been by Ms. Sandlin. But there's actually been a lot that's been accomplished because we've just been kind of moving on through COVID. So I wanted to share that with everybody, and I sent it to the group as a PDF. But I was figuring that I would probably be good if I just kind of put it up so that you can kind of see everything if you don't have the PDF. So I will do that right now. I'm just going to make it normal size on my screen so that it will share properly. All right, so this is a copy of the screen that I sent to everyone. There have been several items that have been completed, and to an extent, because that's from the from what was in the sheet from the planting edible trees in the pocket park areas, the pet waste stations being installed and maintained by the town, links on the town's website to various environmental groups. Ray has actually reformatted that again. So they're like one page, and then when you click on the box of links, you can actually go to pages that gives you information about different groups as part of our sustainable practices. Some of the Big Belly trash receptacles that were previously purchased, that's been completed. But what we're looking at now, I did get a new quote for Big Belly to try to see if we can get more grants to put those around town. So I do have new numbers for that, and that is something that we can share with the group. And then promoting the Chesapeake Bay rain check program and rebate program. We've been pretty diligent about getting that out to people through both our social media and through our newsletter. So those are things that we can say, yay, we've completed so far. So if anybody, I wanted to give a chance for people to ask questions, so I'll stop sharing for a second on the completed ones.
So Michelle, one thought with the big bellies is because there's the space on the front of them for advertisements or announcements, but I'm thinking we need to do a better job with those. So whether it's education around certain things, like now we're doing composting, so could we design an ad to go in some of those big bellies about that program? Or about the tree program that residents can request a tree from the grant that we
That's-
got, or if there's something more interesting, but I feel like we need to do a better job of promoting the
So that's
programs
interesting.
there.
Yeah, no, Mary, you read Ray and I's mind. When I first came, I saw those, and we've ordered the right size paper now to put in there, right? That's the one, those are the larger pieces. We've actually, so that we can actually print them ourselves, and we can put up stuff about events and things like that. It's just something that we need to, with some of them, we have to replace the plastic pieces that are in them. So what we're gonna do is this spring, do an assessment of that as part of the spring rollout to start using those advertising slots for items. And actually, I'd like the green team to, in some ways, once we start to get, let's say, Earth Day and all that stuff, that you'll see them in there now. And that is, but we've, yeah, no, it's something that we got the right size paper and everything for, right, Ray? Those are the larger pieces that we bought. Everyone.
Yes, that's correct. We have the larger pieces of paper now to print out any advertisements that we want to share throughout the community. So that'll get done this spring.
Yeah, so we did tackle that, Mayor. When I first came here, I just was like, what size, and tried to measure it and got that for staff to do it so that we can start to implement it this spring with what we're working on. But I thought about it as a lost opportunity this summer when we had all the different events, like putting a list of community events, especially even in the park, on those the ones that are here in the garbage, on the big belly. So yeah, it is something we are working through.
Yeah, I have a question.
Mhm.
You know, on the regular trash cans, I was wondering if you could put a sign on there, help keep Bladensburg beautiful, you know, to promote trash pickup and using the trash cans.
Yeah, that's the one thing I was looking at. That's the reason why I called Big Belly again, to see if I could get, some to replace some of our older ones, because they're not looking as great and they don't have the ability to advertise. And the cost of Big Bellies are kind of expensive. It's like it's actually closer to about $10,000 a trash can right now. But we did look
Ooh.
at some options
Hmm.
that actually have advertising slots in them that we could use, that are a little bit, maybe public garbage cans are range between about $1,500 to like $2,000. They're just more expensive because they have to be durable. And recycling cans just have to be a little bit more durable than your normal garbage can. The ones that can be put into the ground. So we are looking at that, and it's actually part of the beautification budget. So what I could do is maybe in our next meeting, we could kind of look at those and also find opportunities for our recycling more, because we have lots of garbage and we have recycling, but we're still trying to work with Bates, and we're working on our recyclable, our recycling, our town recycling. So when people take it here, that it's getting put into the recycling, because we have a pickup from the county, but the county doesn't always pick up at the town when we do mass trash. So we're trying to work that out with Bates, but we're at the point of getting that fixed, because we're going to get an additional larger recycling bin at the town. So that will be for recycling only, and Bates will pick that up for us. So those are things that we are going to work
Michelle,
on.
going back to the point Mr. Weitz was making, I'm wondering if maybe, even if we take February to get it together, if we could do a push, say for the
Yeah.
month of March, called
Yeah.
Keep Bladensburg Clean, where that's the messaging that goes in all of the big bellies, and say, brought to you by the Bladensburg Green Team, let's say.
Yeah.
But the effort is united across the town to say, this is what we're encouraging residents to do. And then maybe in April, we come back and it's a different message centered around Earth Day. But I think just for visibility's sake, they're sitting around different parts of the community, and we're not really selling ads right now. So I think we can be a little selfish to message to the residents about doing their part, because sadly, Public Works can pick up trash all day long, but it's those of us who live here that have that responsibility when Public Works isn't around, that we have to do our part. And then I'm thinking too, in the next newsletter, if maybe we could have a section about green team efforts. So to say we're encouraging residents to keep the community clean, that's one. But then a step further, because the spring season is coming, is to do something big again, maybe around Earth Day, where we do the plantings and so forth and encourage residents to get out and plant flowers and beautify their community. But I think we have to just be transparent that beautification is not trash pickup. That's litter. And that's one thing. But we're talking about true beautification. We want to have more trees planted in the community. We want more flowers. We want to encourage people across the town to take pride in where they live and make it look more appealing and beautiful.
That I really like that idea, Mayor James, and I think with March there's some way to kind of tie it into spring cleaning almost, like as a little marketing campaign. If we were doing like planting and stuff like that, I wonder if there's a way to kind of tie beautification also in back to like in talking about sustainability, like native plants and plants that are going to, you know, I know we have like issues with runoff and rain and stuff like that. So maybe like promoting plants that are going to like retain water, native plants, just making sure it's kind of sustainable and not just like, you know, beyond like the beautification, but also focusing on sustainability.
That's a great idea because I'm just thinking, Michelle, I know with the grant, there are specific trees that we can get through that. Mm-hmm. But I wonder if as a town, we just piloted with a small portion of money that if residents wanted to come and pick up like small plantings that they could put at their own properties to help with the runoff. I'm trying to think of one. I feel like
I know. Yeah, no, we were thinking about it. No, that's actually something that's offered by Anacostia Watershed does a little bit of it. I know that in Baltimore, Blue Water Baltimore sells those kinds of plants. I was trying to figure out here who does that because what they do is they have subsidized pricing for buying native plants and plants that actually are, let's say, that are you know, that are perennials and not annuals, so that you can start to build your garden with those kinds of things. So part of, and you guys skipped ahead again, I just was telling you what we already have done. Okay, but in the let me share the next portion, because the next portion is the fact that the town is going to be doing American Bloom, and part of that is encouraging all of these things. So let me share that with you from the standpoint of doing that, promoting planting of around the town. So let me share my screen real quick again.
And while you're bringing that up, Michelle, I think that's a great idea, though, getting Anacostia Watershed Society, because I know they try to cultivate the seedlings and grow them. Yeah. And it could be a fundraiser for them if they were to even sell them to the community to plant on our properties to help prevent stormwater runoff.
Yeah, what staff was thinking was, and this is why I want to kind of clear it with you, but before I just want to share, because it shares so much, is that we'd like to, Anacostia Watershed is having an event on Earth Day at Bladensburg Waterfront. And we've been asking them to try to do some research on what they're doing so that we can come up with ideas to bring to this group about what's going on. And Ray, did you have a chance anyway to talk to them before, or are we still in the research process with that?
Still in the research process. Okay. I wasn't able to get an answer today, but I'll continue to reach out.
Okay, so we were trying to reach out on like what they're doing, because they're trying to get sites for Earth Day as part of doing it out of Bladensburg Park, but we were also trying to find out if we could source plants with them, because they're growing those plants over at Boswick, to be honest with you. And so we should be able to get with them to get that. So staff will make contact this week in regards to that. And then also as part of the American Bloom project, we'd like to have something as far as Earth Day, as far as planting native plants, or not just planting, annuals, but getting some plants that, really help to improve the environment. Plus, that can just come back on their own in some ways, that we start really thinking about it more intentionally.
It's funny you mentioned Bostwick. Those are exactly the plants I was thinking of.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's perfect.
I was like, we have all these partnerships where we let people use space, and then we're
Yep.
like, oh wait, we need plants. They're
Yep.
growing these plants at Bostwick. We can see if we can get some of the plants they're growing at Bostwick. So I was just over there and I saw them. So the ongoing things are, again, educating the community about sustainable practices, which we just were talking about. Hosting and incorporating a sustainable fair as part of an event, but I can share that again. What we've done in the last few years. Oh, sorry, Mayor.
So I just wanted to throw out a question. It was something I was thinking about before today's call. And, Mrs. Carroll, Mr. White, Ms. Kinkle, you can say no. But I wanted to know if you would be open to doing, like, letting me film just maybe a 30 to 60-second interview with each of you separately to talk about why it's so important to participate in the efforts that we're talking about. Because I feel like if your neighbors see you doing this, they'll be more inclined to do it because there's the connection there. And I think it'll motivate more people when they see it's us and we're all neighbors just doing a little bit versus always doing a printed flyer. People can't always relate to a flyer, and especially children, sometimes they see things and it clicks with them super quick. And they remind the parents or grandparents, Mommy, you shouldn't litter. Mommy, we need to plant trees. So in advance of whatever we decide to do, whether it's American Bloom program, maybe we could do a commercial or two for that, and then do something separate with one of you promoting Earth Day activities. And again, just really tying to why you believe this is important for the community to participate.
And Mayor, we've got the perfect person on board online right now with Ray. Even though we see the Bladensburg, we've been working on a couple videos of that type, and I think he can really kind of help with that to kind of get something together. If everybody, as far as we can sketch something out from staff, so that if we can add some stuff together with all the different interviews. Ray, you're okay with that?
Yep, that sounds good to me.
So we're here as you want to develop that.
I'm wondering, I think they might have done it in the past, have an award, a competition, the most, I don't know how you call it, planting flowers and stuff. Like Lois is real good at planting flowers. She's got flowers all year. I'm not good at planting flowers, so I got artificial flowers there. But I do have 2.5 big trees and shrub azaleas and things like that. But I have so much shade, I can't grow things. But I forget her name. There's a resident in Ward 1 that I think her last name's Rice. She's like a master gardener. Okay. And might be able to offer, help in people wanting to plant things. But if we get a contest going, somebody plants stuff and it's contagious after a while.
Ms. Carroll, you have your hand up. Sorry.
Yeah, I was just going to say along those lines, there's also, I know a friend of mine who lives in a different town. They have different designations, like you can get wildlife habitat by putting different plants and stuff like that. So I don't know what they have around this area, but that might be another avenue too, is kind of helping households work towards some sort of designation like that, if that exists as well.
Yeah, they do. I mean, I know that one of my relatives, she's a master gardener here in Prince George's. I was one in Baltimore City and County, but she has a designated habitat in front of her house that she's put together, storm runoff one, and those programs are available. What we can do is bring that information to this group so that we can start to promote them. But it's both through the Master Gardener program and through the state of Maryland where they do those certifications, especially the Prince George's County runoff stuff that you can program that we can get that for you. So we definitely can bring that back so that we can, and maybe we can actually have those people at Earth Day because the Master Gardeners will come out. And if you invite them to have a table, they have gardeners that come out and do that stuff. So they will, if you ask them, which is early enough, because my right about now is to start asking people if they will come. So it depends on the type of event that we want to do.
I've got 2 neighbors. They have 1 dog each, but the backyard, all the grass is gone because the dogs running around. I don't know if there's some kind of grass that is very durable. They want to plant grass, but it just doesn't hold up with dogs running around.
Yeah, they're saying that you could do like clover. My neighbors are moving towards to doing clover because they have a lot of dogs and they're getting rid of. They had a very manicured lawn before they bought the house, and they've moved to this like a clover mix, and that actually does better with wildlife and pets and stuff like that. So we can, but that's what I'm saying. We could ask the Master Gardeners locally to come out, and they could actually. That's what they have is Ask a Master Gardener. And there's a whole book they give you when you do it, because I've done these before, and you can look up stuff and you're like, oh, that's how you do it, or that's how they have a whole bunch of ways that you can answer all those questions. So sometimes it's really good to have them at these things. They can answer all these questions when residents come over, because that's one of the services they do, and you have to do a certain number of hours. So what the rest of it was is kind of showing some stuff that's in progress. Like I mentioned again, just an update on the rain barrels. We are working with Chesapeake Bay Trust on getting a rain barrel program for the town. It's just more of the size of the rain barrels that we're working with the trust and with the county on, because the county actually wants people to move towards cisterns versus the smaller barrels. So we have a meeting internally with that, and I can bring that back to this group shortly. And then again, this idea of the Earth Day cleanup. So part of the agenda today will probably be to set up another meeting sooner than later, so that we can talk more about Earth Day, and we can talk about planning, especially after we've gotten in touch with Anacostia Watershed. And then the Going Green with Pride. Is also something that we do in the fall, but there's also a spring, which isn't it Green Up Cleanup in the spring, or is that, do I have them backwards? I think that's what they used to be called, Green Up Cleanup.
There's both Growing Green with Pride, but we added, I think code enforcement changed our name to the Cleanup Green Up because they added the shredding component. And then also we got the big roll-off dumpster, so we changed it up a little bit. I think that's why the name was changed, but normally the county does one in the spring.
They do.
I feel like it's somewhere around Earth Day. I'll try to get that date.
Yeah, we haven't gotten it yet, but I can send it to Miss Roth and figure out when. Then they have one in the spring and they have one in the fall. I think it used to be called Green Up Cleanup, because I remember back in the early teens, it used to be called Green Up Cleanup. I think every county executive changes it a little bit too. So I think that's why I call it Green Up Cleanup, because I think it was called that under maybe under one of the last county executives. But so you'll get information on that, and that'll be part of our next meeting. So that's an ongoing program. A new item that we're working on.
Can I ask a question though, Michelle? Just like Miss Kinkle, I know you've helped us with this team before, but for Earth Day, I mean, typically we pick up trash and we plant flowers and trees, but just from your experience and being a longtime resident, is there another component that you think would be valuable for the residents that we should be thinking about as we plan?
You're taking me off guard, Takesha. Nothing comes to mind. I think the town does a pretty good job, and we just need to keep it before people pretty constantly. Things come and go. Yeah, Steve is right. We had a little prize for we just called it the best yard or something, or the prettiest yard, or the something like that. But I think if we promoted this idea of wildlife habitat or using native plants versus ones that don't help the environment and just spread and cause problems. That aspect of it has never been hit that I know of, and would be very worthwhile, I think, in town.
Okay.
I don't know, maybe we want to think about a town tree or a town shrub and something that's pretty that as many folks as would like to have it in their yard could somehow get it at a reduced price or something, and give us some uniformity. We might never look like those places over off River Road that have the cherry trees, and we wouldn't want them anyway, but maybe we could have something like that. People would come see Bladensburg for their fill in the blank, whatever it is.
That's a great idea. I can't believe you said you were unprepared. You just gave us some amazing ideas.
We can check in. We can definitely check in with the with CCAR on what trees are available this spring, and then the other stuff that the chief is getting, we'll check in to see. And then maybe there's one that we can designate as, let's say, a town favorite, because I think there's about 5 of them.
Michelle, with the funding for the latest grant, will it only cover trees, or do you think, or can you find out if it would cover shrubs?
You mean from the one that the police? It's trees and shrubs. It's trees. It's
It is?
both. But they're predetermined by the tree canopy, because all of them are the same grant. They're all trees and shrubs, but there's a list that the county has designated as ones that are, I think, water smart and things like that. So that's the ones we would use, but we could maybe pick our favorite of those. Actually, magnolias are on there, which is kind of interesting. I didn't think a magnolia was, but you can, because we got some magnolias that we put over in the park. So there's a variety. So I can get the list for I'll send Ray and I will send the list out after this meeting so that everybody can see the list that was the state approved list.
Yeah, the most beautiful yard contest. You might have to specify they have to be real flowers, because there's a neighbor that has a beautiful yard, yellow flowers all over the place. And I thought, wow, that's fantastic. And then it dawned on me they were all artificial.
Well, you could maybe have the real and artificial, right? No, I'm joking. You can't, but that's okay. Sorry. Ms. Carol, you had your hand up for a long time.
Yeah, I just I wasn't sure, Mayor, if you were asking like overall speaking about like the plans and stuff, or kind of just specific to Earth Day. But one thing that kind of has struck me about this conversation is like if we're focusing on yards and planting and stuff like that, it's very geared towards like the homeowners, and we have a substantial like renting population. So I think one thing that could like improve some of our plans is thinking through like how we can support residents who are in our apartments to be more sustainable. And I think like also we have to kind of go beyond just like planting plants and stuff, and think about kind of some of the systems and that kind of stuff that is also affecting sustainability. Like how can we help people like weatherize their home, which would help them save on energy costs, but also like would be more sustainable. Or I don't know if like something like the ARPA funds could be used to like support residents to kind of upgrade if they needed to like getting like more energy efficient, like heating, if they needed to do that or something like that, and take advantage of some of these kind of incentives that are part of like the Inflation Reduction Act and that kind of stuff. So just like thinking through more systemic approaches as well, and kind of also one thing was kind of starting early and thinking about planning and how we can start to put together some things that we would like to see in new developments if they come to Bladensburg, and some of those sustainability measures as well.
Yeah, those are all great points. And I agree for those who are in apartments, they do have a different sort of challenge because um, if you're in a high-rise building, you don't have a yard, for example, or even with the garden style apartments, you may have a walkout patio, but that's not to say the complex will approve of you planting personal, things there. So I think you're right. We have to think through the best approach there so that those folks aren't left out. But definitely would recommend for Earth Day as an example, as we think about maybe if we use the town hall park as our hub, then we can have the folks who help our residents with the weatherization come out and have a table where right there they can sign people up, help them with the application so that they can get those funds to get more sustainable and smart and more efficient electrical appliances, their roofs. The program covers window fixtures and so forth. So rather than pulling from a different pot of money, that money gets left over year after year. So the more we can encourage residents to sign up and get those funds, the better, because I would hate for the state to start cutting back on those funds because they aren't being utilized. So we can definitely have someone from our partner at UCAP to help us out with that. Again, like you said, just put a strategy together for how we approach the apartments. I think even if we gave them some options of things versus just saying, we want you to do X. If we could say, these are some ways that we would love for Autumn Woods Apartments to support the town's sustainability program. Would you consider like Chris Mendoza having the beehive, where he collects honey and does that? Or because Eco City Farms is already at Autumn Woods, is there a natural tie-in between our efforts and what Autumn Woods could do to support Eco City Farm? And overall, it supports the town's goals. So I think you're right. Just thinking through those approaches will help us with making sure we have a comprehensive strategy together.
And Mayor, thanks for mentioning the weatherization, because we already have a relationship with the weatherization and that can easily be added into this plan. It just wasn't part of it before. And we're already doing some of that. And the other thing with Eco City Farms is that we're working on with Eco City Farms an opportunity for people to participate in a CSA, which is a collective sustainable and agricultural program where people can get food at a reduced price that is fresh from Eco Farms. And they would have a delivery point at the town for that. So again, that's that sustainability and doing that as well. So those are new items that can be added, as well as to the food composting program, which we are targeting towards the apartments. That's one of the new things that we've been, not only to residents, but we're trying to work with the apartment buildings to provide a location at maybe Autumn Woods or one of the apartments, so that people who live in the apartments can actually feel like they can go close to their house and have that accessibility, so they're not bringing it to Central Point. So we're really looking at our composting program to make sure that we are kind of taking advantage of the density we have in town that other towns don't necessarily have, because we have that density in some of these apartment buildings, that we could actually have a really successful composting program if people did participate. And then those compost scraps could be taken right up the street to Eco Farms and used and reused. So that is one of the items that we'd like to add. But the weatherization one, we can definitely add to this. It's part of our other. It's kind of funny. I have two plans. We're working on one, which I guess maybe that's what I need to probably. I'm sorry, Mayor. I'll let you speak first. Oh, okay. There are two plans that we're working on simultaneously. There's a sustainable community program, which is with the state of Maryland, which is something that we have to apply for in regards to our a wealth of funding for the town. And the green team is actually part of it's called the Sustainable Community. They almost sound the same, but the Sustainable Maryland program, which is run by the Environmental Finance Fund at University of Maryland. So the green team is part of that certification that we do. So they're sort of the same but different. So I'm working on two plans at one time. One is for the state and one is for this program that we participate through with MML. I wish they were married, but they're good cousins. They're not married. So I have to do two different things. But what I am going to do, which is since I'm working on getting us back into the Sustainable Maryland Sustainable Maryland program, I'm actually taking the items from Sustainable Maryland and moving them into my Sustainable Communities program so that they're both so we have the same items together. So excuse on this one because there's stuff that's in my other one that needs to move to this one, but I was just updating what we had on the other one, if that makes sense. So just wanted to provide that background of the two programs.
Thank you for that. And then just wanted to raise one other question to the group because at least on my side, I feel like things have gotten better. Now, I'm not going to say perfect with the pet waste. I don't see as much on the sidewalks as I did prior to those pet waste stations going up. But I was curious to know if you are seeing that we need to add a few more near where your respective homes are.
We have one, you know, at the corner of our street, and I see people using it all the time.
Mayor, are there a lot up by the apartments? Or I know some of the apartments have some of them. I'm not sure. I can check on that, whether or not we need to add some, because I know they're mostly in they're mostly closer to town hall, but we can check that and work with the apartment complexes on that issue too, to make sure that they're up there as well.
Yeah, I know the one on 57th Avenue gets leveraged quite a bit. And because that's a high walking area,
right,
that's where we used to see a lot of it. And, there's a huge storm drain near there. That's why it used to frustrate me that people would allow that there and it could contaminate our water. So it's gotten better. But again, I just was curious near where Mrs. Carroll is and then over on Tilden, if they were seeing that we need to add more there. But I think it's worth maybe having Sean or one of the officers just ride through, because even if it's 4 or 5, if we can get some grant money from like Chesapeake Bay or somewhere that could cover the cost of those.
And because we've already invested in like the heart, I mean, it's a sign and it's really the holder. It's not, now that we've started it, we're already buying bags, we're already doing that stuff. It's not really much of a change to add 1 or 2 because the signage is pretty universal. And I know the way Purnell orders stuff, it doesn't take us long he might have extra signs that I could actually put up and it's just more of the holder. So it's not a big expense for us to add more. So that's we can cover that within our existing budgets and without even having to grant our way through it. It's just more of if anyone sees one, say something, we'll add it. And I'll talk to Sean.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm wondering if we need more trash cans. I'm thinking on Tilden Road, you go up the hill to the high school, there's an entrance to the high school and a lot of traffic there. I don't know if there's a trash can there for Bladensburg or not. But
no.
That would help in bus stops, places like that. Maybe we need more trash cans.
So we also, and I'll put that into this one, is that we've applied for a bus shelter program that's actually a one that where they're like enhanced bus shelters where it has a green component, a green roof on it.
Is that the cool ones from
the cool
UMD?
Ones. Yeah.
Okay, I was gonna suggest that because I saw that and I thought of it and it was really cool. But
yeah, I've applied for 2 of those on our major thoroughfares so that we can replace and have 2 of the cool shelters. They run about $30,000 a piece. So we've applied for 2. We actually applied for 4 of them for the whole port towns, but 2 for Bladensburg as part of our grant. And then that would then also include trash. That's the reason why I was looking at the Big Bellies as like a package with it all. But we do have a grant application in the Chesapeake Bay Trust for that in this last round of funding. So we'll hear about that soon. And so I couldn't put it on the plan until it's actually put together, but that was put in this fall. So what we can, but we are looking for opportunities to add more trash cans. Mr. Weiss, that's something I can see that because you have to have them a certain distance when you're going places. 'Cause I just noticed that people, if you don't have a trash can, they just drop stuff, you know, and it's a sad thing. It's not just litter, but if also that recycling. I walk a lot in the spring. I haven't walked this winter as much, but like I like to walk around with my can of Diet Coke and I got to walk it all the way back to my office to recycle it. So I need a place to recycle on a halfway point or something. So that's something important to me.
And Michelle, the bus stop on the opposite side of Edmonston Road from the library
Yeah,
has that trash can there. That drives me nuts
I know.
because it fills up, just because it's such a high traffic area, that even when the guys empty the trash over the weekend, by Monday it's overflowing. So
Yeah.
I feel like that has to be a site.
That has to be
for
a
the
bigger trash
dual-
can. Yeah.
Yeah, for the recycling plus the trash, just because of
Mhm.
all that volume there. It's
No.
bad.
It's that's one of the places that I was targeting for the cool shelter one with the enhanced
Mhm.
trash can, because
Perfect.
that's the place I took the picture of to say this is one that needs one of those, because I just see people sitting on the ground, even sitting on the stuff, and up by the Save a Lot. There's no seat there, there's no nothing. I mean, that's and that there's a lot of people who wait there at that bus stop all the time when you're walking up and down. So those are some of the two that I was looking at. But I talked to Mr. The owner of the shopping center at the corner in regards to that, and in regards to changing that shelter, and they agreed that we could do that if we got the funding.
And another thing, the Save-A-Lot Shopping Center has a retaining wall between
Yes.
the shopping center and the church. People park their car there because it's shady. They sit there drinking and eating, and they're constantly filled with trash along that retaining wall. And maybe this is something you could partner. I know it's a responsibility of the shopping center to keep it clean, but they don't keep up with it. And if we could somehow get a trash can there, that might help. And also the other shopping center down there, not the Checkers shopping center side, but the other side behind
Right.
Tina's liquor store
Mhm.
is constantly, first of all, there's guys drinking beer out there all the time. They throw all the beer bottles and trash all over, it blows all over the hill. And maybe a trash can's needed there, and some police enforcement to stop the drinking. Some of them are drunk. You have to wait 5 minutes for them to get out of the roadway. They're staggering around. And the trash cans, the dumpsters there are constantly overflowing.
Yeah.
With trash all over the place. And one solution might be to build a wood fence around them. And that way they could lock the entrance to it so people aren't dumping their home trash there. But, maybe that would help keep that area cleaner. They have that.
Yeah, no, I get what you're talking about. Yeah, no, I'll have Sean and I will look at it too and try to figure out, I know that we're trying to encourage people to do the enclosed trash bins so that there's not, so you don't get as many people nuisance dumping back there, because that's what some of them have experienced. And it's not inexpensive to pay for trash removal anymore. So we will try to work through that one too, but that I do get what you're saying. Once we come back, we'll talk about some trash can locations and recycling locations. I think that we have to deal with it as well as recycling when we are putting them out. So a trash or recycling solution because a lot of stuff can be recycled. So if we can get people to train them to say, cans and bottles, please, at least get those in there. Okay.
Yeah, I look lately, but this time of year, the leaf vacuum is finished. And some people might still be putting leaves out on the street to be picked up, and keep an eye out for that and report it so the street drains don't get clogged up.
Mm.
And the stormwater drains, I've told people that live next to a stormwater drain where it goes under the street, it gets clogged up, have them call and report that and check on those to prevent any flooding.
And I'll check in with Purnell on that too to see because you're right, all the leaves are are pretty much down, and we have been, I think we started to close up that shop, but what he can do for following up, I can definitely have his team out there, because we do own the equipment. We're not renting the equipment, we can own it, so we can come back out. Okay, so if I kind of gave you an update on the Sustainable Maryland recertification process, because right now we're in the process after we're forming the committee again to do the recertification. Mike Honeycake, who works for the University of Maryland, would like to do a brief presentation to the group at our next regularly scheduled meeting, which will be great. But what I'll do is I will update the plan and add some of these things that we just talked about to it and email that to everyone, along with some of the information that we discussed and like things that to add to this plan. The last item I've got just from the agenda is the trying to get that is just our next meeting dates and times, as far as times that work for people, because we do probably need to meet to discuss the Earth Day, which is coming up sooner than we think. And just as an FYI, they again, Anacostia Watershed is hosting something at Bladensburg Waterfront Park. I know we do our own thing, but if there's any interest in partnering or, you know, being a part of a larger program, that's something that we can definitely find out from them, because I just wanted to, you know, just as far as making it a larger idea. So, Mayor.
Yeah, I definitely am in favor of partnering with them, and it'll also help to get more volunteers. And then also, there's a school, I can't think of the name of it, but they want to help with getting us students. They're in Montgomery County somewhere, but so there's that. And then I'm in touch with one of the local universities about getting their students out. So that's why I'm thinking if we partner up with them to do a bigger initiative, it'll be easier to attract lots of volunteers.
Yeah, and they've already reserved the park.
Okay.
So that's why if we did change the location from town hall to the park, they have it already reserved. So that's like, that's nice because they already have the day reserved.
Yeah, and then again, we can get our partner out there with the weatherization information. We could really have some education tables out there to really provide resources, and then have an activity that people can actually do. So I think that would be really good.
Okay.
I mean, but tell me, you know, what the rest of
everybody
team
else.
thinks.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah.
I think that's a great idea, and I think it's a good way to like get, like you said, Mayor, get more information out there and get more people involved. Because I think, you know, one of the things is just getting the information and making those connections to the people that, you know, are able to implement sustainable stuff or are able to help our residents like access them, I guess. So
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So then, just trying to figure out times and dates. Is everybody okay if we set up a meeting at least by the beginning of March, or late, that we send
I
out
was
some
gonna
dates?
say, what about the 26th of February?
Yeah, the 26th of February. I was like, yeah, the late February. The 26th works for me. It looks like I'm not going.
Does that work for everyone? I'm just thinking so that way we can get our
Yeah, you have the
plans
momentum.
together.
Yes, I'm okay with that. 26 works for me. If that's anybody at the same time, if that's okay.
I can confirm later, just because like I don't have my like work calendar up with me. But yeah,
no problem. Okay, so what we'll do is for now we'll send out a holding for the 26th at the same time, and then I will also send out some updated information on the plan, and then we'll let Mike Honeycake know if he can make that one, so that we can get him to do his presentation to you guys on Sustainable Maryland, and we can, if there's anything else, I don't know, good of the order stuff.
I think we're good. Thank you all for participating and for sharing all these great ideas. I just look forward to working with you and seeing it come to fruition.
Yeah.
Very excited.
Thank you guys.
Have a good afternoon.
Have a good rest of the day.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.